Permits me to go ahead with this evening webinar. Uh, I will just go straight to the key points I have on my slide. I've prepared some slide for us to engage with us this evening. So I'll quickly go with all the slides, and at the end, perhaps we have questions we can entertain, and we see how we can move this evening. We'll be discussing about cloud computing this evening. And as for, I want to believe almost all of us came across our flyers, and we are interested to learn about cloud computing. We've been hearing about computing for some times now, and we'll be asking ourselves some questions. What is it all about, and all that. So, let me quickly give us a brief prehistory of cloud computing. What happened before cloud computing? Cloud computing does not just start all of a sudden. We don't just hear about AWS, Azure, Google Cloud as we know it of today, all of a sudden. Uh, Before cloud computing, the way we do IT generally, we do software development and IT operation side of it is quite different from the way we do it in this modern day. So before cloud computing, uh, as we know it, the team of front-end developer, back-end, UI, UX, product designer, they come together, depending on whichever project is it. And after all of this code has been made, the front-end developer we design after the UI UX guys have done all of that, and the back-end guys will provide the logic behind this all of this application we are building. And after all of this, they will throw this code to IT guys. These IT guys will be the one that will provision the servers. We host the application eventually on our servers, so that every other people, will be able to access this our application. But around 2006, uh, when AWS launched their cloud computing, uh, like I said, this is just a kind of what happened before cloud computing, before we actually go into cloud computing. So around 2006, AWS come to, they were like, okay, we have enough servers to serve us. When we talk about Amazon and all of the services they have then, and of course, we have SSs. We can still lease out some of our servers without affecting us. So they come up with this business model. They are the first to come up with cloud computing as we know it of today in 2006. So, and the model is that, okay, why don't we rent out some of our servers to startups or any other people that want to use it for the application and all of that. And no, they started around March 2006 with S3. S3 is one of their services on AWS, simple storage, just like flash drive, or just to to store some files as we know it. So this was around the same time we learned of DevOps culture. What is DevOps culture? I explained the other time that developer will do all of their code and will throw it to IT operations, and they will provision the servers and all of the rest. So DevOps culture is more of, okay, why don't we work together as a team? Instead of you guys, you do your software development and you throw it to us eventually, because while you are developing your application, we don't know the requirements when it comes to number of CPU we need to provision, number of RAMs, and all of that. So they come together, and that's what forms DevOps. It's actually development and operations. So it was around these same times all of this development and innovation was just coming up in IT, and which give rooms for acceptance when it comes to cloud computing. So let me quickly just go straight to what cloud computing is all about. I don't give you my name just because at this point I don't think it's that relevant, it's that important. Anyway, my name is Adeolu Yola, if you care to know. So, what is cloud computing? So, for me, the easiest way I can put it, such that I will understand, is accessing the resources over the internet. And when I mean resources, I mean IT resources. When you're talking about servers, when you're talking about storage, when you're talking about database, you're talking about networking, you're talking about security, you're talking about all of these resources. Initially, uh, I explained at that time, when the developer they finished with their development, they throw it to the system admin, as we call them those days. So the system admin guys will now go straight to data center, and data center is nothing more than you know a kind of a warehouse for servers. Some, of course, some rich company do have their own server as well, residing in their uh, company premises or wherever. But actually, data center is a kind of, you can imagine it as a kind of a big warehouse that house a bunch of servers. And servers is just any computing devices like a computer, desktop, and all of that, but without screen actually. So this system admin, they will now go straight to this data center, access this server, provision the server, and of course, they will now deploy the application inside the server. Uh, After which, general public, it will be open to general public to access the application. For instance, Facebook, just think of it, any application at all. So, but at this point, when AWS realized that, okay, we can lease out our servers, SS servers, to other people to use. So the idea is just, okay, why don't they leverage it on the internet instead of coming to our data center to access the server itself? So in summary, I'm saying that cloud computing is not as we many of us, when we are coming into cloud computing, we imagine it's maybe one kind of cloud in the sky. Not at all. It's just a bunch of servers that you can access over the internet. Let me take that again. Before, the system administrator will go physically to meet with these servers, access the servers, provision it, do all of that necessary that need to be done, set up the network, the storage, database, and every other things, then deploy the application. So it will now be accessible to general public. But this time around, cloud computing is now saying that, okay, you don't need to physically go to meet with these servers, you can access it over the internet. Uh, I think that is clear enough up to this point. So that is actually cloud computing. So more or less like the way we do it before, but this time around, you don't need to go physically to meet with the server. You can just access the server over the internet. And all of these other services you can imagine: storage, servers, database, security, networks, uh, resources over the internet. It's as simple as that. And of course, it goes beyond, like I mentioned the other time, you don't need to visit this place physically. So this is one of the best analogy we do share among the community of cloud practitioner. It's just, you can imagine it's like just like electricity, you know that means you try to switch it on whenever you need it. You Please, are we I don't know, maybe you getting my slide, or maybe I'm fast, I don't know. I would love you
I'm
can
getting it.
drop a message for me on the chat. If I'm fast, let me know. If you are not seeing my
The
slide,
flow
let
is
me
good.
know. Oh,
The
okay,
flow is good.
perfect. So the idea is Okay, thank you. So the idea is, you can imagine it just like electricities or any utilities at all at home, where you get to access this service whenever you need it, and of course the quantity you need, and you can determine, you can control the extent of this service, you can manage it. That is one of the simplest analogy we can give to this. Uh, of course, you don't need to buy a bunch of servers and keep inside your offices or your company premises, all because you want to build a startup. You never know where the startup is heading to. But why not leverage on some other servers elsewhere? You just use a bit of it and test your what's it called? Test your idea, maybe your product, maybe it will work eventually, and then scale from there. Um, Yes, that's a simple analogy you will not forget if you pick up that. So quickly let me chip in this. We have another beautiful program. Um, I want to believe that maybe some of us are joining this webinar for the very first time. We are not being part of the community. I'm not sure, but if you are joining this community for the very first time, or even you have been part of us for some times, we have another beautiful program. Actually, this is where we started from, data analyst. So, and it's just a 8 weeks program, cohort, and you can see from the slide, the details is there. So if you are part of the community, you will have come across these flyers, maybe in our WhatsApp group and all of that. So, but the point is, I just want to chip in this for us to know that it is not only cloud computing training, we have this other wonderful program as well. And it's not just about theory. We hold your hands, we show you how it's been done, and we have testimonial from previous students who are doing well in their respective endeavors. So it would be good if you pick this up. If you're interested in data, of course, you can pick this up as well. So let's move on. By now, you should have understand what we mean by cloud computing. Just imagine it to just be servers you can access anytime, any day, anywhere, the quantity you need, and all of that. So, but we have different type of models of this cloud computing. We have public cloud, we have private cloud, we have hybrid. I know most of us are not hearing cloud computing for the very first time. We've heard about AWS, we've heard about Azure, Google Cloud, we've heard about Alibaba, we've heard about Oracle, we've heard about so many other um, cloud provider. Of course, all these belong under the category of public cloud. And of course, we have private cloud. Um, you can imagine having a private cloud as a maybe a banks having their own dedicated infrastructure because of the sensitivity of the data they deal with, or even governments, or institution that you can imagine NASA of USA now, they can't play with their data, or just something that have to uh, something that is sensitive that should be private. Those are another type of cloud we can categorize as cloud. And then, of course, we have hybrid cloud, more or less the mixture of this we're talking about, either both public and private. Of course, some governments I cannot really remember the particular country. I think in Europe, they do a kind of hybrid cloud. They have their dedicated cloud. Of course, they still leverage on AWS for some other services, because the point is they might not be sufficiently um, have maybe skills or expertise to handle some areas of this cloud we're talking about. So they leverage on the public cloud, say for instance AWS or Azure in this case. So that's for that, under the type of cloud computing. Let me state this at this point that tonight is just um, a kind of theory. It's kind of let's quickly go about the introduction aspect of cloud computing. Of course, we don't have the time to go into practical today. But when you join the cohort itself, it's more of practical, it's more of hands-on. Of course, before the end of this 6 weeks, you should be able to be boast of at least 6 projects in your portfolio that you are proud of. So allow me, if all I'm doing tonight is just talk, 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 and all of that, we need to have some basis before we start the practical. So let me move on to how this cloud computing is layer, how the responsibility of both, let me put it this way, the responsibility of both the cloud provider and that of yourself. Like I said, you access this server remotely over the internet, but you have your own responsibility. The cloud provider have their own responsibility. So for this layer, I split it into three, as you can see from the slide. So the first one is a software as a service. Here, the cloud provider have all the do I let me put it this way, have sole responsibility over everything as pertaining to the service, any of the services under this category. You can imagine Google Drive, imagine or Dropbox. There's little to what you can do, or little control, or little to how you can manage these services. We are saying that it is at the you are at the mercy of the cloud provider, because they will be the one that will do the set up the server, set up the network, do all the security, do every other things. Yours is just to you know use this service and all of and that's all. Then we have platform as a service. So here, uh you have some level of control, in that you can do some settings, you can do some configuration here and there to achieve, to suit, to a kind of suit what you want eventually. And the cloud provider do bunch of the work, set up the servers, make sure the security is in good shape, networking and all of that, while you do the rest. And we have infrastructure as a service. Here you have full control. Like, this is the real cloud computing we're talking about. This is the when we're talking about cloud computing, for me, this is what I often see as cloud computing discussion. I mean, infrastructure as service, where you'll be able to control all you are able to access. You're able to access the server, you're able to access the storage, you're able to access all kind of resources that you need, and you're able to do anything you want to do at length with any of these services. So you are not limited to say, okay, for instance, now that you've accessed the server, you cannot go beyond this. There's a limit to number of CPU you can set. There's a limit to number of RAM or whatever you can do with the server. You can go all length as long as you know that you are going to pay for that. So for me, this is uh, the real cloud computing. So, of course, every other one you can leverage on other services. So under these three categories, we then have, you know, numbers of services. For instance, now under the infrastructure as service, we have what we call, for instance, under AWS, we have what we call EC2. We have what we call virtual machine, just servers. We have what we call EKS. The number is so long. So the closest example I can give for us under that software as a service, as you can see there, is just like Google Drive, Dropbox. All you can just do is just to put your file there. There's little to what you can do with those kind of services. I believe we are following. Um, I want to believe I'm communicating. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So let me move on to the next slide I have here. Uh, so the question we ask ourselves is why cloud? Why cloud computing? Why do I need to learn cloud computing? Okay, thank you. Joy to know team. Thank you so much. All right. That means I'm not talking to myself. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. So, one of the questions we ask ourselves is that why do I need to learn cloud computing? Why cloud computing? There are so many options I have out there. Um, AI is there, software development is there. The list is long. So, but why cloud computing? Why do I need to learn cloud computing? I just put these 4 points that resonates with me here. Uh, is I have to be sincere with us. It's on demand. So um the demand both for for skill labor when it comes to cloud computing is huge, and of course using the service itself is on demand. You are not tied down to, say, for instance, like I explained the other time, because you are now using these servers, you are not limited. You can increase it, you can reduce it, you can, just like you rent it. So you can do what you want to do with that, uh, knowing fully well that you pay for what you use, of course. And the demand for skill labor, I must be sincere, is just how do I put it now? Increasing every day because more startups, more company, they're now seeing the potential of cloud computing, so they are trooping in, to cloud computing, the leverage on cloud computing. So of course, it's cost efficient in the sense that you pay as you go. The model of all of these cloud computing providers, be it AWS, Azure, uh, Google Cloud, Alibaba, Oracle, talk of it, the model is kind of similar. Of course, I would say the same thing, and the model is just pay as you go. You don't you can imagine, say for instance, you want to start a startup now. You don't know what will happen in the next couple of months. You 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 spend most of your money on just to provision server and all of that. In about 2 months or 3 months, you discover that all the money is gone and all of that. So instead of taking the risk, instead of spending all this money tied down on the infrastructure, why don't that, like we do call it in IT, MVP. You just start small, try to test skill and all of that. So you pay as you go. You pay gradually. Okay, this is not working, let's stop it. This is working, let's scale it and all of that. And of course, global reach. So I think about 3 or 2 years ago, I worked with one startup here in Nigeria, and the beauty is that uh, some of our customer, reside outside. I mean, some of the traffic we expect using our what I call it now application now, they reside outside Nigeria. So you can imagine. And one thing in IT generally, if you have been in IT for a while, or um, of course, one of the basic thing you need to know when we talk about latency, meaning that your server, your infrastructure is good, is close to the users, is close to where the traffic is coming from because of latency and all of that. Uh, so you can imagine your startup, your company, and all of that is in one side of the world, and of course, most of the traffic is coming from the other side. So how do you bridge that gap if cloud computing won't help? It's going to be a tough thing for you to do. So, but because of cloud computing, that headache is gone now. So you can reach anywhere in the world without network issue, without latency issue, without all of that. And of course, it helps your business all over or all together to grow. And of course, as we know it, we are in another era of AI, machine learning, and all of that. So the beauty is that most of this you've been hearing about GPU, you've been hearing about things that have to do with uh, AI, ML-led infrastructure. You still leverage on cloud computing because gone are those days you have to buy, like I mentioned the other time, buy this server, set it up. So it's easy now for you to leverage on this infrastructure, say on AWS, even though all these things are, are a way of new, but of course things are happening at the speed of light in Haiti as we know it of recent. So you want to get NVIDIA GPU, you want to get whatever GPU and all of that is what you can get on AWS marketplace. So there are a lot of plugin and extension on uh, AWS marketplace. The same thing uh, um, Google Cloud as well. So making it easier for you to work as a somebody working in AI or machine learning and all of that. So there's no excuse, say, okay, because I'm looking into AI, I'm looking into machine learning, I don't need cloud computing. You still need cloud computing. Quickly, let me move to the next slide I have here. So this just pretty what I shared before, like Google Drive kind of a thing. Um, and of course, these are companies that, as we know it, leverage big company. Uh, and now to talk of other smaller startup that are leveraging on cloud computing, you can imagine when Netflix, Uber, and all of that are using this kind of technology, you should know that it's not going anywhere. So it's a beautiful thing to consider, and in terms of um, what you stand to gain and all of that. Honestly, I must confess. So again, I have here um, like a kind of overview of career good mind, what you my some data that you might see and say, okay, wow, this is interesting. And I think as recent when I check online, this is what I got. You know, you can imagine an industry of over 500 billion that have this potential. You can imagine. So you imagine the the extent, or let me say the demand for um skilled labor. You can try to imagine uh um uh the potential in this industry. And of course is still evolving, it's still a kind of growing things. So it's not as though I've missed out. It's not as though where am I 2 years ago, where am I 5 years ago. No, it's still evolving each year, like I said. So um like they say, best time to plant or something like that is yesterday, another best time is so today. So my point is this is a big industry, as you can see. Many of these industry, as we know, is not close to this we have. So, and we have some key roles. Even though there are, we can say, okay, there are so many role, plenty things you can do in cloud and all of that, but there are like few roles that pays well. There are few roles that, of course, it won't take you much time to grab the basis, and of course you continue to develop yourself in this, and with time you can quickly stand out and be any huge. I mean, so when we talk about uh cloud architecture or solution architecture. Or this is what they actually they take the business. This is what they do. They take the business requirement, after several meetings with the products managers, on the engineer, the business owner himself, and all of that. So they look at the requirements. Okay, this is what we want to achieve, and all of that. So they try to design or come up with a kind of architecture, how do I put it now, of how they can move on with those requirements, or how they can achieve that. So they say, okay, if AWS have these services, Google Cloud have these services, Azure have these services. How can I match these services all together if I want to use hybrid model, or even I want to leverage only on AWS? How do I map these services together, working together to achieve this? So that's what they do. And we have DevOps engineer. I remember in the beginning, I explained the concept of DevOps culture. It's nothing more than development and operations, uh, software development and operations. So basically, uh, the development team and the operations guys, they are working together as a team, unlike before. So instead of the development to finish their work and throw it to the system admin guy, why not from the start collaborate together, work together, and continuously, they are working together. It's not as though they are working in silos. They are working together like a team itself. So, yes, I've mentioned um, cloud architect. So another one we have is a site reliability engineer. It's very close to what DevOps do, but in their own way, they build the platform for software developer to uh, actually work on. How do I put it now? Um, Similar to what DevOps do, because they provision servers, they make ready the servers for the application to work on. But uh, a bit to what they do is that, because currently it's another conversation in the community, that was actually the difference between DevOps and this SRE guy. They are doing the same thing. And of course, the trend is now shifting from DevOps to SRE gradually, maybe with times coming years we might not hear of DevOps again. I'm just thinking. So, of course, when it comes to data as well, there are a whole lot of services you can leverage on on AWS, Google Cloud, any of these cloud provider. There are so numbers of services you can leverage on to work on as a data analysis or machine learning engineer or whatever. They are so the number is huge. And of course, we have security engineer, we have network engineer. Is as long you just imagine the all the relevant role that we have in IT. Of course, they have their place in cloud computing. Just imagining all, like I said, all the relevant um, role in IT, be it front-end developer, back-end. Just imagine they have their role in cloud computing. So I realized that some people are joining for the first time tonight. Sorry, are just joining us tonight. And let me chip in this as well, for if you miss it the other time I explained this, that we have this other wonderful program. um, and like I said the other time, this is where we started from. And of course, it has been going on for quite some years now. And we have number of students that have passed through this program. And it's good for you if you are looking into anything data, I must say. Very good um, program. The date is there, is starting 8th of November. So, or you have anybody in your network, friends, family that want to learn data or anything, it's good opportunity. It's good thing that you share with them so that they don't miss out. So let me quickly move to the next slide. Sorry, like how many minutes do I still have? Do I sorry. It's
Yeah, if
like
you're
I'm
able to wrap
not
up, if
working
you're
with
able
the
to wrap up
time.
7 o'clock or thereabout.
You can help me, Kule.
If you're able to wrap up 7 o'clock or thereabout.
So it will guide me to know how to. So let's move on. So for you'll be imagining, say for instance, um if I want to go into network, if I want to go into, for instance, if I want to go into security, if I want to go into DevOps, if I want to go to any of these, where should I focus? Where should I, what should be my area of, because as we know it, cloud computing is broad field itself, it's wide things. It's like saying IT generally. It's as simple as that, IT generally. So, and one of the questions that will bother us is okay, where do I place my focus, or how do I see this thing? Because you're saying it's big, is a fast industry itself. So I just pull down some stuff here for us to look at. The thing is, you just need to understand the core cloud itself. There's no two way around it. Either you want to eventually go into DevOps, eventually you want to go into network, go into whatever. The basis must be there, and the basis, as we know it, is just the fundamental IT itself. Okay, these services, that services, what is it used for? At what point did I need these services? For instance, AWS have about, I think 200 and over 200 and 240, if I'm not wrong, as at the last time that I checked. AWS has about, yes, over 240 thereabout. So you can imagine that for all of these services, it's too huge. Which one do I really focus on? So the idea is, if it is possible, all of these services just by name, what they do, and all of that, it ends here. That ends there, and then you then decide which area, which um, line you are going into, you specialize on that. And of course, if you are going with containers, Kubernetes, maybe you've been hearing that as well. uh, if you are working with AWS, then you'll be looking at AWS and all of that. You'll be looking at AKE for EKS for AWS. I think AKS for Azure. So this, and of course we have EEC2 as well. These are basic services that of course you need to understand if you are considering to go into Kubernetes, to go into containers. And of course we are looking to go into DevOps, and eventually say, okay, you've learned the basics, you want to progress, and then you want to look into DevOps or automation and all of that. So each of these areas have their specific services you need to really take your time to, learn and master. That's my point, actually. We have networking services peculiar to networking, peculiar to security, peculiar to, all of this. That's my point, actually. So when we are starting this cohort, uh, we will do series of assignments, series of projects, which will help us to see how this thing really work. And of course, if after this 6 weeks, you can then decide to, specialize on particular ones you want. So what I have in mind is that okay, at the end of these 6 weeks, you should be set to you should be ready to to write one of the AWS what's it called? Certification. I'm not sure I put that one here. But okay, let me quickly just chip in that AWS, all of these cloud provider have their certification just to check, just to confirm that you know what this cloud provider is actually all about. They have for beginners, they have for associate level, they have for professional, and yes, these are the three categories. And the first, particularly in AWS, we have practitioner. So that one you can just read their what's it called? Brochure, read their like this training we are doing. After these 6 weeks, you should be ready to sit for this exam and pass it once. Of course, there's opportunity for you to take it second time. I think the first one I did, I think there are two, but I passed anyway. I passed the first one at one seat. The second one, I think I have to take it the second time. So the associate level, we have solution archi- architect. We have a good number of other certification, and then for professional level as well. So, of course, employers, as we know it, employers give some employer, let me put it that way, they consider certification as maybe you know a little bit more compared to someone that doesn't have certification. So here's the thing: when you apply, um, two basic things the your potential employer look at. They look at projects that you've done. They consider um, among several things the projects you've done, and of course certification you had. So those are like two things that matters, apart from every other thing that you need to do. And of course, like I said, I'm promising you that if you subscribe into this program after 6 weeks, you should be, because when I did my own how many years now? Uh, but it doesn't take me, I could remember it doesn't take me 3 months. And that's because I was just doing it my own. I just, when I have the time, okay, this week I read and do research and all of that. It doesn't take me 3 months. I just, and this is somebody that's, new to cloud computing as well. So the point I'm making is that if you subscribe to this program, by the end of the program, you should be ready to pass this exam. So, what again do we have here? I think I've talked about mostly what is here on the slide. I've talked about certification as well. Yes. Um, and of course, another thing we will help you um, with is that we will show you we it's a practical thing. We will show you how, of course, nobody is promising you any job at the end of the training, at the end of this course, but the assurance is that if you follow through what we be teaching you, of course, um with God's help, you will definitely be ready for work, and it is sure thing that you'll get one. I'm not saying immediately after the 6 weeks, but what I'm saying is that it's relative. You put in the work, of course. Looking for work to save is a big work. But of course, the point is, if you follow through what we will share with you, uh, how some of us have been able to, get work with one, with two startup and all of that, and it's still working. So uh, um, you stand a better chance, you know, eventually. So let me move on to the next slide that I have here. I think I have pretty much explained this as well. Like if you are starting, as a beginner, this is um, what will be. what would we advise you to start with? The fundamental, the basic things, and if you want to do certification, if you are considering AWS, like I did then some years ago, cloud, you start with cloud practitioner, and of course, I think that year is about $100. Yes, I think it's about $100. So, of course, if this is not news for you, if you are not hearing about cloud computing for the first time, I would advise that you drop cloud practitioner and just move on to something like a solution architect. And that's if it's not new to you. Maybe you have be accessing some information here and there, and you have been, you know. So, that's for that. I remember something now, but. Ah, wait. So, okay, yes. Uh, I just remember something now that there are still some other way around it if you cannot afford to register for these certifications, say $100. I think at associate level is 150 or 200. I cannot remember the price currently, but if you for instance, cannot afford for it, or you try, let me look for free option. There are still free option for you to get this certification. I mean to sit for this certification. And if you pass, of course, they will give you certification. And the first one I did then, I think it was free. And just because I'm part of AWS Community Builder, and that's one of the benefits that comes being a AWS Community Builder. So along the line, we will share with you what it means to be AWS Community Builder, benefit that comes with AWS Community Builder, how to become one, and yeah, and I must be sincere to you. Is there are a lot of opportunity that comes being AWS Community Builder, and it's not something tough, something easy that everyone, I believe, can achieve. And of course, maybe where I'm working today, or I don't know, maybe that a bit, you know, contributes um contribute to me securing where I'm working currently. Maybe, I don't know, but of course, it's in my CV certification. I had I have being community builder and all of that, among several other things. But of course, when we are I was discussing with the HR then. It's one of the conversation we had then. So my point is, along the line, if you join the cohort, we will explain to you what it means to be a community builder. And one of the benefits is what I share with you now, that you'll be able to uh, get one certification per year. So is a we renew it every year. So coming next year, if you are lucky to be selected, they give you another uh, opportunity to sit for any certification of your own choice. So let's move on. Um, I think I've explained a bit of this earlier on. Why learn cloud now? Maybe I've shared part of this earlier on.
Yeah, you can
Why
just keep
learn
this. You
cloud
can just
now?
keep this
So
if
I
you
mentioned earlier as well that most company, they are moving to cloud. They realize that, buying the servers, you know on their own, it's not sustainable, it's not economical wise. So why not, switch into cloud when you can decide, I'm using this service today, I'm not using it tomorrow, and all of that. So, and of course, most of our application these days is cloud native. What I mean by cloud native is
sorry,
that
sorry.
uh
Hello,
from the
hello.
start is designed in the cloud to sorry, some people are dropping message. Let me quickly.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry.
think I mean because you have talked about this before, you can
Oh, okay,
just go
okay.
to concluding
So,
parts.
so Um, I think I just need to brush up. So, some common myths in the cloud computing that we have, cloud is only for big company. Actually, it's not only for big companies. Small companies, medium companies, they use cloud computing as well. Pretty much many examples outside there. And of course, some people believe that you need to be a programmer. It's not true. You don't need to be a programmer for you to work in the cloud computing industry. Of course, maybe later you might say, okay, I want to automate my work. I want to make my workflow fast and all of that. You just learn a basic cloud Python or Bash script and all of that to make your work flow fast. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have. Yeah. And of course, I explain this as well when you join our program. It is structured in a way that you will not be overwhelmed. If you are doing it alone, I want to believe some of us maybe we have, let me check YouTube, let me Google and all of that, and we are overwhelmed. This thing is big. No, 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 no. When we will do it gradually over the space of 6 weeks, and you will going to see that it's not something big as such. And of course, uh like I said, you'll be bold enough to say you have at least three projects, at least do a series of projects, and together. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have here tonight. So I don't know if you have any question. Kunle, I don't know, maybe we have any question.
Thank you for a very
So
clear
over to our
presentation.
moderator.
Thank you for the presentation. Look like your internet is lagging,
I
so
think
most
we've
time,
walked past time. This is
can you hear me?
5 minutes after 8.
All right. Let's do it this way. Um, can Pope, can you give
Yeah, you can
me,
go ahead, Victor.
yeah, can you give me the right to share my screen, please?
Yes, you can share your screen.
All right. So I will say, if anybody has got questions, you have two options. Feel free to interrupt myself, or feel free to type it in the question. What's called in the chat. The reason why, can you all see my screen, if I may ask?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now, so one thing I decided to do is, I know you mentioned a couple of things. I can do a bit of Google search for you guys so that you can see. So this is what's it called? Indeed UK, and I decided to just type cloud engineer. Averagely, you will not get anything less than between 60 and 80K. See this 40K here. You see they stretched it. It's between 43,000 and 110, depending on how well you can sell yourself. And a platform engineer here is 80,000. Lead software, this is actually software. But the moment you're doing anything cloud these days, the reward is really, really high as far as I have seen it. But it all depends on how much effort you put into it. We've seen this happen a lot with a lot of our data class where people do training and they would expect that the moment they are done with the training like this, boom, they will get a job. It doesn't work that way. You do the training, you practice, you do the assignments, because most of the time people just come listen and go, and they feel like the moment I finish or the moment I have my certifications, it will shock you when you get to the interview. Nobody will ask for your certification. They may ask it, they may even put it in the requirement, but I can tell you categorically well from experience that nobody will ask you to bring it. When you get to work, to interview most of the time, they'll just place a computer in front of you and say, okay, can you do this or can you solve this problem for us? So what will determine the kind of job you are going to get and how much you will get paid will be the amount of effort you've placed into whatsoever you've learned. If I teach you how to drive, you only get better at driving if you drive every day. If I teach you how to do cloud computing, if I teach you how to do data analysis, you will only get good pay, better job, if and only if You practice all your assignment and you apply for work, apply for a job. Because I've also seen people that are really very good and they are so afraid to apply. And you tell them, why are you not applying? I just don't know. I don't think I have enough experience. What other experience do you need than what you've been practicing in your house? Did you practice very well? I will give them a task, they will do it, but they will not go and apply. Those are the big problems that we have. So I am telling you that whatsoever effort you put into it will determine the kind of output you are going to get. So therefore, if you really want the money, so these are for permanent roles, right? Me, I'm not a fan of permanent role, and a couple of people know that already. But let me show you what contract looks like. For a cloud engineer, this is a cloud fin ops. You are getting 700 to 800 per day. For API engineer, which is some cloud native stuff too, you need to understand database and etc. It's 454 a day here. If you know cloud and you know a bit of geospatial, whatever, for a solution architecture, what's it called, kind of platform that they're using like ArcGIS, you may be between 500, 600 a day, and so on and so forth. And I can tell you categorically well that the demand for people in this role is really, really high. See, this is a cloud DevOps engineer. They are looking for 240,000 a year. That means if you divide that by 12, that means you'll be going on with nothing less than 10,000 pounds. Sorry, not going on. Your gross your gross per, what's it called? Per month will be, is that 10,000 or 24? If we divide it by 10, that's 24. So if you do, sorry, my math is so bad at this point in time, but this is how much you get paid when you are able to demonstrate that you have enough experience for the cloud thing. But it doesn't come overnight. You don't just sit down and say, oh, I've taken the training and the job will come and meet me. It will not come and meet you. You need to apply and you need to practice well enough for you to say, okay, I know what I am doing. I have practiced on AWS enough and I'm like, certification is good, but it will not get you a job. And I will tell you categorically well. This is for the cloud computing thing, and it's starting 8th of November. We are doing it for 6 weeks. It's going to be fully practical oriented, meaning that you come to the class, you get lecture, and you get assignment. You don't do it, we move to the next class next week. You don't do it, we move to the next class. You don't do it, we move to the next class. By the time we are done, you don't do anything. If you put effort, I can tell you that most of the time when we do training, by week 3, most people will start getting job offers. But those are people who have placed a bit of effort into practicing what they've been taught. But if you do not put effort, I cannot come and hold you in your house. You're an adult. Here's another one. For the data analysis, it's also the same thing. Well, let me drag this data stuff here. Okay, so this is the data one. Data is also 6 weeks long. And it's not a matter of where you are. I think the person that spoke to us today is based in Nigeria and is working for companies in the US, is working in different places. All classes we hold are all virtual. It's also for 6 weeks. Sometimes we can stretch it. Okay, so this one is for 8 weeks. We stretched it to 8 weeks because we want people to, we want to kind of slow down a little bit more for people just because some people don't catch up on time. But I can tell you, the more you practice, the higher your chances the higher the chances that you are going to get what you are looking for. If you don't practice, I cannot help you. See, same way I did cloud here, it's the same way I would do data analyst. And you'll be shocked that there are loads of jobs. 400 a day, 400 a day, 475, 600, 70, 80K. It doesn't come by accident. They don't just, how do I say it? They will not just come and drag you in your house. You have to know what you're doing. I hope that makes sense to anybody. I don't know if anybody's got questions, and that's the only reason why I took over the mic, because I really need to say this out loud to everyone. So, who is got question, please? Please raise up your hand or mute yourself or type in the box. Question? Okay. If there are no questions, I'll wait until 7:14. If there are no questions, I would just say the relevant goodbye. But please, if you need to register, go to cpdbase.com. cpdbase.com, and you will see the relevant class. You can register. Most of our classes are recorded. If you cannot meet up with the time, you can always watch later. Most importantly, do your assignment. Most importantly, you can watch the video and feel energized. But if you don't do the assignment, unfortunately, I cannot help you. We've placed it at a time that works for people in different time zones. And most of these classes don't take long before they get filled up. So I would say, if you are really, really interested, do yourself a favor to register. If you think, oh, I cannot pay for everything at once and you need a payment arrangement, we can discuss that. Just reach out to one of us. But the most important thing is register, register, and register as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate your time today. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you. Pope, how you end now?